stop letting your emotions control your life, I'm gonna share with you 7 things I quit that finally made me feel like a calm, grounded, actually functioning human being. Because here's what nobody tells you. You can read every self-help book. You can go to the therapy. You can download every meditation app on your phone and still feel completely lost inside. That was me. And the answer wasn't adding more things to my life. It was removing them. People ask me all the time, how are you so calm? How do you not react to everything? And I always say the same thing. It's not what I do. It's what I stop doing. Because the truth is your nervous system doesn't need more motivation. It needs less noise. So here are the 7 things I quit, starting with number 1. I quit mistaking safety for happiness. For most of my life, I thought I was chasing happiness. I wasn't. I was chasing safety. There is a huge difference and it's everything. Here's what I mean. Every time I had an opportunity to change a new job, a difficult conversation, leaving a situation that was draining me, I froze. Not because I didn't want better, but because my brain convinced me that the known pain was safer than the unknown possibility. I call it the familiar freeze. You know something is hurting you, you stay anyway, because at least you know what kind of hurt it is. Think about it like this. You are sleeping in a room that's slightly too cold. Every night you hate it, but you never get up to adjust the thermostat because getting out warm bed feels worse in the moment than the cold you have already gotten used to. That's most people's emotional lives. The organism, your body, your brain is not actually designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you alive, to keep you safe, and safe often looks like staying exactly where you are. Once I understood that my discomfort with change was biological, not a character flaw, everything shifted. If you want to stop being stuck, first understand why you are stuck. Your brain is doing its job. The question is whether that job is still serving you, which brings us to number 2. Number 2, I quit thinking I needed to fix myself. This is the one that changed everything. For years, I approached myself like a problem to be solved. What's wrong with me? How do I fix this? Why can't I just be better? And that framing, that constant internal audit was itself the wound. Because here's what I come to understand. You are not broken. You are responding. Every pattern you have that you hate, the anxiety, the reactivity, the people pleasing, the shutting down, those aren't flaws. They are strategies your nervous system developed to protect you, usually a long time ago. Usually when you didn't have any other tools, they work. That's why they are still here. I call it the protection reframe. You're not fighting your worst habits. You are thanking them for their service, then gently retiring them. Think of it like this. You hired a security guard to protect you during a dangerous time in your life. They did their job, but now you're in a different building, different neighborhood, and the guard is still treating every visitor like a threat. You don't fire them with shame. You retrain them with understanding. The moment I stopped trying to fix myself and started getting curious about myself, instead things began to shift. Not because I changed everything, but because I stopped fighting what I am and started to understand it. That's where real change begins. Number 3, I quit listening to people who haven't been where I want to go. Someone tried to give me emotional regulation advice. They were one of the most reactive, anxious people I had ever met. I smiled, I accepted, and I made a decision right there. I don't take peace advice from someone who isn't peaceful. I don't take relationship advice from someone who doesn't have the relationship I want. I don't take confident advice from someone who is constantly seeking validation. Not because I'm dismissive, but because what if I follow their map and it leads me exactly where they are? Here's the brutal truth about advice. Most people who give you advice about your life are giving you the directions that got them to their destination. And if their destination isn't where you want to end up, you are just going to follow their instructions straight into life that doesn't fit you. I call it borrowed maps. You are trying to navigate your life using someone else's directions. The most dangerous borrowed maps come from the people closest to you, your parents, your oldest friends, the people who love you most, because they genuinely believe they are helping, but their advice is built from their own experiences, their own fears, their own ceiling. Surround yourself with people who have the inner life you want, not just the outer life, because emotional health leaves clues. You just have to know where to look, which brings us to number 4. Number 4, I quit confusing my identity with my labels. Ask most people who they are. They will tell you what they do. I'm a manager, I'm a mother, I'm a content creator. Those are roles, those are functions. That's not who you are. I spent years building an identity out of titles and it felt solid until one of those titles got taken away and I realized I had no idea who I was underneath it. I call it the label collapse. The moment life removes a title you have been hiding inside, your job ends, your relationship ends, your children grow up and leave, your status changes, and suddenly you are standing there asking, okay, but who am I actually? What I now understand. Your identity is not what you do. It's not how useful you are. It's not your performance score or your productivity or your output. Think of an identity like the roots of a tree. The job, the role, the status, those are the branches. They can grow, they can be cut, they can change with every season. But the roots, those are who you are when no one is watching, what you value when no one is measuring you, how you treat people when there is nothing to gain. Most of us have built beautiful branches and neglected our roots entirely. Start there, which brings us to number five. Number five, I quit running from feelings I didn't like. Here's something most people get completely wrong about emotional health. They think the goal is to feel good. It isn't. The goal is to feel full stop. Because here's what happens when you spend years avoiding the difficult feelings, the grief, the shame, the loneliness, the fear, you also stop feeling the good ones. You numb one thing, you numb everything. I call it the flat line. Life is technically fine. Nothing seems wrong, but nothing feels real either. Joy feels distant, love feels muted. You are functioning, but you are not alive. Most people living in the flat line don't even realize it because it happens so gradually. Every time something hurt too much, you reach for your phone or food or work or another plan, another project, another distraction, and the body keeps score. Here's the analogy that changed how I think about this. Emotions are like a pressure in a pipe. You can get it, you can reroute it, you can pretend it isn't building, but at some point something bursts and it never bursts in a convenient direction. The alternative isn't to be overwhelmed by your feelings. It is to learn to sit with them long enough to understand what they are actually telling you. Feelings are data, not enemies, which brings us to number six. Number six, I quit comparing my chapter to someone else's chapter 27. This one nearly broke me. I spent years looking at people ahead of me and measuring my worth by the gap between us. They had more, they had done more, they seemed more together, and every comparison made me smaller. Here's what I didn't understand. I was comparing my internal experience, the doubt, the confusion, the mess, to their external presentation, their highlight reel, their finished product. Nobody shows you their chapter 3. They show you chapter 27, the version that already went through the fire, the version that made me mistakes, learned lessons, rebuilt from scratch, sometimes more than once. I call it the invisible chapters. All the growth you never see because you only meet people at the version they have become, not the version they had to survive to get there. And here's the other thing, you are not behind. You are exactly in the chapter you need to be in right now. Every person who is further along than you was once exactly where you are, confused, uncertain, wondering if they were doing it right. Stop measuring your roots against someone else's branches. Your story has its own timeline under it, which brings us to number seven. Number seven, I quit expecting comfort from people who are still hurting themselves. This one is uncomfortable, but it is important. You cannot get emotional safety from someone who doesn't have it. You cannot get validation from someone who is starving for themselves. You cannot get peace from someone who is at war with themselves. And yet, so many of us keep going back to the same people, hoping this time they will finally have what we need. It's like going to a restaurant that doesn't serve food and being surprised every time you feel hungry. I call it the empty well. You keep drawing from it because it's familiar, because it's close, because some part of you believes that if you just in the right way, something will come up. But a well that has no water cannot give you water, no matter how many times you lower the bucket. This doesn't mean those people are bad. It means they are in their own drought. The work is to stop expecting water from empty wells and to find and become sources that are actually full. Those are the seven things I quit. But if there is one truth underneath all of them, it is this. Most of our suffering doesn't come from our circumstances. It comes from the relationship we have with our own inner world. The goal is not to feel happy all the time. The goal is to stop being a stranger to yourself. Get quiet, get curious, stop running. Everything you have been looking for outside of you. The peace, the confidence, the clarity is not somewhere else. It's underneath the noise you have been using to avoid it. Thank you for listening. I love you.